blah na now, blah na now. Hey, we're doing Escape from New York and Escape from LA. That was my rendition of the theme. John Carpenter's theme. Now,
Gong, 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 gong.
Henry does it. It's like not quite as much panache as mine, but the intention is there and the passion is there.
The accuracy's there a little bit more.
You think the accuracy is there a
A
little
little bit more, but you did do it with more fervor. 276 episodes.
Oh, go on. Keep it. You're really handling this one so far.
No. Episode 276, Escape from New York, Escape from LA. Never seen the second one, seen the first one many, many years ago. I think I only saw it once, so this was a nice time to rewatch it. This was my choice this week before Shocktober.
Yeah, it's sort of.
Not done. I'm your host, Henry Papali. To my north, my northern star, my compass in all things cinematic, not really true, Daniel D. Train Ehrenberg.
That's right. Follow me. I'll take you home. And this is Daniel Ehrenberg, full name. Charles, middle name. Just for the record. Named after my dead uncle. Died before I was born, not to bring it down. My name is the D-Train, and we're here talking JC, Jesus Cristo, and John Carpenter. Both Carpenters.
Yeah.
Both
Carpenters. Yeah. Over here is I'm H. Bliskin.
Yeah. Are we just gonna say variations on our name for the
Let's
rest
do
of the
that
episode?
for the first eight and a quarter minutes.
Okay. Well, I want to get into it because I enjoy these movies. I was happy you chose them, Henry. I think I'm maybe more of a Pliskin head than you are, but
so you probably are only because I'm sure you've seen Escape from New York.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
More than me.
Right.
I believe, I feel like I only, like I said earlier, I think I only saw it once, because when I was watching it this time, I was like, I've only seen this movie like at most twice, and I really think I saw it once. And I think the first time I ever saw it, I think I was in New York, so I might have gone like most of my life not seeing this. I don't know how or why, but I also didn't really become a big self-aware John Carpenter fan until I lived in New York. So it was very fun to watch it again.
I got into
LA.
it in high school.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, I bought Halloween on VHS when I was like 12 or something. I had a Blockbuster exclusive version of that VHS. The cover, you'll never see it anywhere, but a Blockbuster video, Henry.
What was it?
I don't know. It was Jamie Lee Curtis with the fucking Michael Myers behind there, but it was
Which
different. But it was different, Henry.
Oh, it was not just the pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting a call from work. They're probably going to ask me to come in right now, and I'm going to say, fuck no, I'm recording a podcast. Hey, what are we talking about? Escape from New York. So, what were we really talking about? I got distracted by that phone call, for real.
I understand. You first you had a VHS of Halloween.
Halloween, of course. The cover was different, Blockbuster exclusive. Now, so that got me into Carpenter, basically. I started watching his shit after that, whatever I could find. And I probably watched them in a weird order, like I didn't watch the ones you're supposed to watch first, but it doesn't matter. But this was a big one. Like, Escape from New York was sort of popular in the nerd community. And as, like, someone who was reading comics at a young age, I was very aware of this character. Like, occasionally Marvel or someone would put out some kind of Snake Plissken miniseries or something.
Right. I figured. I was going to ask you. I figured that. Okay.
Yeah. So,
No idea.
so I liked the original, obviously. I think I thought it was, like, slow at first, like the first time I saw it. And then once I saw more of Carpenter's early stuff, like Assault on Precinct 13 and Dark Star, yeah, this resembles in tone those movies a lot more than the stuff he would do in this movie's immediate aftermath, like Starman or Big Trouble in Little China.
Or even.
Or what?
Even The Thing.
Or The Thing, yeah, for sure.
Just great dialogue. I didn't see Dark Star, but this movie did remind me of the tone and pacing of Precinct. Yeah.
Yeah, which is slow to some, but once you're on the movie's wavelength, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's great, but it is slow. Yeah.
Sure. Then, of course, 96, Escape from L.A. I remember when that came out.
Why?
It seemed like it came out before I ever saw Escape from New York, and I always thought it seemed like janky to me. It was released in August too, which is like when they release janky movies.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, we got a big movie for you, but we have no confidence in it. Here it is in August.
I just remember when the trailer came out and the movie came out, to my knowledge, I had not seen. I would have been I was 18 at the time, fresh out of high school. I had not seen New York, so the trailers to me were just endless comic fodder. Because they looked so fucking bad. I did not understand John Carpenter at that age. I'd seen dribs and drabs of stuff like Halloween or The Thing, but I was not a horror guy, so Carpenter was not my guy at that age at all. And so when that movie came out, L.A., it was just comic fodder. It looked fucking terrible. I didn't understand. You know what I mean? It looked horrible. I wasn't interested. I made fun of it, dismissed it, yada, yada, yada.
I didn't see that one until, I was trying to be complete on Carpenter, and so...
You saw it a while after, too.
Yeah, I think I probably saw it for the first time in college or something, maybe just after. And, I liked it. I think it's good, but, I can understand its reputation, and this was only my second time watching it for the podcast. Okay. Yeah. All right. You ready to dig in?
You basically revealed your feelings on it. You did enjoy the movie this time around.
You want me to reveal my grades right now as well?
You did. You said you enjoy the movie.
Do you want to record the podcast? I could just go MVP, LVP right now.
If we're ever short, real short on time, and we have 10 minutes, you guys are going to get an episode where it's literally just we say hello, we say what we're doing, and then we just give our grades.
I mean, someday we could do that. If someone ever pays for some kind of bullshit fucking franchise that gives us absolutely nothing, we'll do that.
That's a threat. Yeah, it'll be 8 minutes on iTunes. It'll be an 8-minute.
Yeah, thanks for making us watch this, asshole. 1 star. MVP, no one. LVP, you.
All right, let's do it. Go ahead. Get into the weeds.
All right. Well, so Carpenter, the reason this movie might feel more like early Carpenter is he wrote this one very early in his career. He had this script lying around. I heard Watergate was the inspiration for this film.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
You read that Wikipedia page too?
Yeah. All right. a lot of 70s references. We got the NLF crashing the plane, which is of course the Viet Cong.
Oh, well, look, man. I didn't get all the smart references. I was just in it for the eye patches and quips.
I understand. I was too, but if you're gonna throw these things at me, I'm gonna catch them.
Well, keep it up. Keep it up. Keep catching those balls, unlike the Mets. All right. All right. So Sea-Dog wrote this movie. Then couldn't get the financing for it, so he went on to do other shit. Made Assault on Precinct 13. I think he'd already done Dark Star. He made Halloween. And then Someone's Watching Me and The Fog. He kept making movies with his lady, Adrienne Barbeau. He was married to Barbeau at the time. That's why she was in movies.
Right. A couple of marriages. The Barbeau one, and then I didn't know till last night when I was just reading about Kurt Russell a little bit. No idea he was married to the girl in the scene in Escape from New York where he's in the fucking shop.
That was Goldie Hawn?
No. He was married to Susan Hudley.
God, that's a good name. Yo.
For 4 years.
You'll get a good blowjob from Susan Hudley. I'll tell you. You know she puts out. All right.
The season to be jolly. Yeah, and then that was over, and he went with Goldie.
Yeah, he sure did. Now, Henry. So he got it in him. He wanted to make this movie again. Got the financing, but he took a look at the script. He said, it's a little too much like my old shit. Let me bring in a friend to help. So he brings in his friend Nick Castle.
Great stuff.
What do you mean?
It was so cool to read that, and I was like, wait a minute, I know that fucking name. And then it was like, you know.
Yeah, he played Michael Myers. He's Michael Myers, and
it's masked for a half second in the first movie. We that Nick Castle, right?
That's true. The Shape.
Yeah,
he's the Shape. I think he even did it in the David Gordon Green one. He played Michael Myers for a while in that. He of course went on to be a terrible director of some note.
That I didn't know.
He did, Nick Castle. Nick Castle's had a real weird career, dude, because, like, after he was Michael Myers, he wrote this movie, which kind of gave him some weird clout, like, behind the scenes in Hollywood. Then he got an offer to direct this movie, Tag, the Assassination Game, which I've never seen. But anyway, that movie kind of did all right, and he kept going. So he directed The Last Starfighter, which is a good movie, all right?
I remember that when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's a very fine movie with Martin Short as a. Wait, no, I'm getting it mixed up. What's the Martin Short one?
Inner Space.
No. Oh wait, maybe that is
Martin
what I'm thinking of. Yeah. What's The Last Starfighter? Is this the one where he plays an arcade game and then gets drafted into like the military of a planet?
I always confuse The Last Starfighter and Explorers.
I've never seen Explorers. What the fuck is the one I'm thinking of, though, where, like, he's riding around and maybe Helen Hunt is a scientist's daughter? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Meg Ryan, Dennis Quaid, and Martin in Inner Space. Yeah.
Are you sure that's Inner Space?
I couldn't be more sure because I saw it in theaters as a kid. I loved that movie. Martin Short shrinks into the body of... Dennis Quaid shrinks into the body of Martin Short, and Martin Short gets to do all kinds of crazy, wacky physical comedy. And Meg Ryan's love interest.
He's one crazy, wacky guy. I agree with that, for sure.
Yeah.
What?
That's my Martin Short impression.
Oh. I don't know what I'm talking about, and it's going to annoy Tim because we covered it for We Love Kids movies on the Patreon feed, patreon.com/thefranchise. All right, I guess we'll move on. So Nick Castle goes on to direct such horrible movies as Dennis the Menace.
High profile, though.
Oh, very high profile. He continues to be high profile. He directed, this is off the top of my head, by the way, Major Payne, with Damon Wayans.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And the pièce de la Resistance. All right. Ellen DeGeneres in Mr. Wrong.
Oh, boy.
A classic.
So this guy, The Shape goes on in the most famous horror movie of all time, possibly the greatest. He goes on to direct wacky comedies.
Yeah. I mean, so poorly. Like, Dennis the Menace, you could see the fucking boom mic in half the scenes of that movie. Like, such a bad movie. If this guy knows one shape, it's the poop emoji. Am I right?
Well, how would you be able to direct with a fucking white mask over your face the whole time? That's not easy.
He could take it off.
No, man. He's got a rep to consider. That's his out. If the movie sucks, they just be like, I don't know. Can you point out this Nick Castle fella for me? I'm not hiring him again. I can. He wore a mask the whole time. I don't know what he looked like.
This guy gets hired time. You know, I gotta say, I've been thinking a lot about men and women, the difference between men and women directors.
Oh, yeah. A woman does that once, you're out.
You're so out. I just watched this movie, Love Letters, that's written and directed by Amy Holden Jones, all right? So she got her start. She did the Slumber Party Massacre with Roger Corman. She wrote and directed that movie. It was a big hit for Roger Corman. Then Roger Corman says you could do whatever you want for this one. She does this great movie, Love Letters, with Jamie Lee Curtis. And then she followed it up, her third, and that was a hit. It did well. And then her third movie flopped, and she just never got to direct a movie again.
You're done.
You're done. If you're a woman, you direct one flop. I mean, not anymore, but back then, you're done. This guy, Nick Castle, he directed like 17 flops.
Pissing money at Nick Castle. Just urinating money into his bank account.
Yeah. But anyway, he co-wrote Escape from New York, so he's okay in my book. So the studio wanted Charles Bronson or Tommy Lee Jones for Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
I could kind of see either one, but, Carpenter loved his Kurt Russell.
Fuck yeah, man. Everybody fucking CB, man. I don't get it. This fucking guy comes up in like every action movie franchise we cover that's like somewhat old. The people wanted this guy all the way until he was like 98, right? I mean, what the fuck? Who cares?
He was a name.
Fucking Bronson, man.
Charles Bronson was guaranteed a certain amount of money per movie, and then if it was a good movie, it might make more. All right? I'm not saying it was the right choice, but I understand why they're looking at this guy.
I guess. I mean, I fucking wasn't it Die Hard too, and all kinds of shit with this guy.
You know what? I think time has proven that Charles Bronson's the better man than Bruce Willis.
Oh, has it? I don't know.
I think so.
Exactly. Pans of society. I don't know.
Well, society is a flat circle.
Doesn't take much.
All right.
I know. I'm willing to read about anybody now. I'm reading about Kurt Russell last night, and I'm like, he's been a good Democrat his whole life. I know it. I remember this. I remember that. No, he's a libertarian.
Who, Kurt Russell?
Big gun rights advocate, big NRA guy. That's great.
He's a big, rich, white, handsome white guy, of course.
But you find a lot of these old actors are, they're liberals, and it's nice to see. And
it's tough to have everything you've ever asked for your entire life. It's tough to grow up that way and end up a good person.
I don't know. I had faith in Kurt. I'm not out though. I don't care. I'm not out on him. I didn't read that.
I'm never out on anybody, man. Like I stick with guys to the bitter end, man. But
bullshit. Of course you are.
Who am I out on?
If you read something about an actor who is, I read, when Stallone is at fucking Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah,
I'm out.
But I'm not.
Out.
I'm never out. And you're not either, because you know what, Stallone? We'll cover him again on this show.
Not gonna like it.
He's got franchises to spare, baby.
Yeah. Wait a minute. All right, I don't want to get a too diversion here, but you're not out on anybody. Nobody has turned you off.
I'm out on nobody. I'll watch anybody's work. If they made another season of House of Cards with Kevin Spacey right now, I would turn it on instantly.
Wow. You're more perverse than I imagine.
I gotta be honest about something.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. performed at Madison Square Garden a month ago, and I almost bought tickets.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're able to...
I separate the art from the artist.
You're out on Mel Gibson.
But I'm not. Like, I say I am, but I saw Hacksaw Ridge when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, if Mel Gibson ever put out another thing that I would ever give a shit about, I would see it.
Yeah, the quality of what the person does is also, of course, applicable.
Yeah, of course. It's a lot easier to be out on somebody when they're producing shit. Like, yeah, I'm sort of out on John Voight right now, but, like, it's really easy to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're not like a brave soldier for being out on Voight.
Yeah. What do I have to not watch? Ray Donovan? Fine.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, but I can't. It's too hard. I'm too OCD for that.
I feel like it's hard for most people. Like it's
don't know.
maybe not my best quality. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's not my best quality. Maybe I should be able to overlook that shit, but it's hard. I don't
Let
know.
us know who has the better qualities in the comments. Okay. All right.
What
So
a
they
degenerative show. All right, let's go. Let's move it on.
yeah they
Come on.
brought in Nick Castle. His job was comedy. He wanted to add comedy, weirdness. He created the character of Cabby, the Ernest Borgnine character, and finally the ending. He rewrote the ending.
All right.
So the movie finally comes out July 10th, 1981, on a budget of $6 million, and it makes $25.2 million at the box office. You know, it's not like an out of the box like massive hit or anything, but the shit made money. It was well received, and Steak Plissken entered the lexicon.
Yeah. I was surprised. I had to do some retro financial figures in my head, meaning I didn't know what I was doing, and I was trying to think like, that's a lot of money for a $6 million movie in 1981. It's not like precedent setting, but it made some coin. People saw this movie.
Yeah. You have any other ways to say
nobody
that?
did.
Come on, it's a hit.
Yeah.
This one did well for this was Carpenter was on a roll until
Yeah,
The
it's true.
Thing. The Thing fucked up his role.
I didn't know that. Why? Because it was so fucking out there?
Tanked. Nobody saw that movie, Henry.
Oh, that's
I mean,
right.
now it's considered a classic, but yeah.
No, you're right. I knew that because Carpenter talks about it a lot. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I don't get that. Okay, people are so fucking fickle. All right.
All right. This movie came in at number 32 at the box office.
Oh.
It made slightly less than this movie, Only When I Laugh. It looks like sort of a Terms of Endearment-y kind of a thing.
It's great.
Neil Simon screenplay.
Snorefest.
Yeah, and made slightly more than Body Heat.
Ooh, great movie.
Hey, this Only When I Laugh was nominated for 3 Oscars,
Of course it was.
including all acting Oscars for Marsha Mason, James Coco, and Joan Hackett. Certainly 3 of our finest actors.
I've heard of Marsha Mason.
Have you?
That's it. Heard of her.
Big Goodbye Girl fan.
Know the name.
All right, next. What do we have? One award show chose to recognize Escape from New York. Can you guess which one?
I'm gonna go with Saturn.
Yes, the Saturn Awards, of course. The Academy of Science Fiction and Fantasy and Horror Arts.
Horror arts. All right, we have 2 Saturn themes. Let's hope I pick the good one. So here we go.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn World Sci-Fi Best of Films.
Classic. All right. Nominated for 4 Saturn Awards, Henry. It was nominated for The Big Boy, Best Science Fiction Film. And
Nice.
It lost in an interesting choice, I thought, to Superman 2.
Oh, very interesting. I mean, God, we covered that so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. And what am I going to say to that?
I gotta be honest. I love Escape from New York, but I kind of agree with the Saturn Awards on all of the awards it lost.
Okay.
Just hear me out. So it loses
Yeah.
Superman 2. That's close. I love both.
Yeah.
John Carpenter's nominated for Best Director of the Year. He loses to Steven Spielberg for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, come on. You
Right.
can't give him shit for that.
No. Yeah.
Best Costumes nominated for that. It loses to Excalibur, which has cool costumes.
Well, they love evil shit.
Yeah, they do. And makeup, the makeup award it loses to Rick Baker for American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think we've come to learn this, right, over the last year or however long we've been covering the Saturns. They're picks are usually, if it doesn't involve Lord of the Rings or some fucking annoying
Or
franchise,
Star Trek.
correct, their picks are far closer to a quality movie than a lot of other award shows.
Which is amazing because they
Yeah.
cut out like 75% of the genres.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't like often find myself just being horrified at
Yeah.
their choices.
And that's why I really think somebody's got to come up with some way to put together a quality comedy award.
Oh, totally. I agree. Because
You
it
know?
ain't.
Yeah, because the Saturn Awards, I really do think do a good job with this genre material.
You're right.
And there's no award show that consistently recognizes the smartest and best in comedy. There's got to be some kind of a comedy award show that's like started by like an actually good comedian. The problem is that smart, talented comedians don't give a fuck about awards for the most part.
Very,
If
very
somebody's
true.
going to start a comedy award, it's going to end up being like Billy Crystal or something,
Yeah,
and it's going to be
exactly.
horrible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because comedians by nature are just sort of self-absorbed and neurotic, and they don't really care about shit like that. But it would be great. And I say, if you ever started it, only allow comedians to be the panel.
I say
And
only
vote.
let people who have written for Mr. Show or the state vote for the award.
I want on my committee of like 10. I at least want Apatow on there. I want Paul Rudd on there.
Okay, we could include writers of the Larry Sanders Show if you want.
Fine, yeah. I want Larry David on that panel. I want.
All right, yeah, I guess.
I want like quality people.
I know.
You know?
The problem is there's just always we gotta wait. We gotta start this award show once like the Borscht Belt's completely dead. Once they're in the ground.
If there's an age requirement, we can do that. Oh, Larry's old. No.
Yeah, no, because you'd want someone like Norman Lear on there, but like,
Yeah.
all right, anyway.
Comedians are assholes. They can tell people you're not allowed on. You're not in.
Yeah, we need like someone with balls to really like, put together a committee. It's got to be a judging panel, almost like the Palme d'Or, where it's like a whole crew of filmmakers.
Totally, man. Yeah.
All right, anyway, Escape from New York. Let's talk about it. It's 1988. Crime is up 400%. All right, so things aren't going great.
So that's not a good rate.
Reagan really must have fucked something up.
He sure did. One of the worst second worst president of all time.
No.
Yeah.
Second worst?
Yeah.
Fourth worst.
Second worst to me.
I'm going to go. Here's the top 5 worst presidents. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Number 1 with a bullet, DT. Top of the line, Agent Orange. All right.
You are correct.
Yeah. Number 2 with a bullet, W. Boom.
Okay.
All right. Number
Totally fair.
3 with a bullet, Nick Stogg.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I'm going to say Nixon. You can argue that a president who's used the N-word less is better or worse, but I'm going to stick with Nixon at number 3.
He's one of the worst presidents who ever lived.
All right, number 4, let's go with Reagan there. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And number 5, of course, Abraham Lincoln. No, I'm joking. Number...
No. For me, it's DT, and then Reagan. Reagan beats W because W murdered a lot more people.
Yeah.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. But Reagan fucked up society, American society, forever.
But Bush did that too with the aftermath of 9/11.
Correct. But Reagan set the standard for selfishness, self-absorption. and completely deconstructing all the progress that was made in the 60s with racial civil rights and women's rights and everything. He did it all, and he made this country a shithole. Reagan blows. He fucking sucks.
Oh, my
And,
goodness, Henry.
I hate Reagan. DT, Reagan, Bush, and then fourth, I'm going to go with Andrew Johnson. He was after Lincoln, and then, I'd have to think about it. Nixon created the Environmental Protection Agency, so that was good.
Well, you didn't let me give my number 5, Henry.
Oh, Nixon was also an anti-Semite, so that was good.
Yep. My number 5, I'm going to go with Taft. All right?
What did he ever do to you?
I'll tell you, he was a big fat guy, and I read that he once got stuck in a presidential bathtub.
Okay, no, I was basing mine on a recent lifetime study of the presidents and a recent 850-page book I read on C-SPAN's national rankings of presidents and my accumulated knowledge over the years. The bathtub, I understand.
I read that in a book of presidential fun facts as a kid, and it stuck with me, Henry.
The worst thing you could have said was, Henry, I read that when we lived together in some book you had, fucker.
Yeah.
I'd be like, God damn it.
No, are you kidding me? The books you were reading when we lived together, you were in the middle of that fucking Robert Caro thing that sat on our toilet for a year.
I was. I read 2 Robert Caro books when we lived together.
It was you. Yeah, I know. You were finishing up the Power Broker, I think, and then you.
I never read the Power Broker.
Oh, really? The one you were reading most of the way though was the 5th of the LBJ ones. 4th,
Yeah.
Okay.
I read the 3rd, and then we were living together, Caro came to the store, and he had for the release of the 4th.
Yeah.
And I read. Yeah.
Did you offer him a blowjob?
He's too old.
To accept or to give?
I love Robert Caro. What a wonderful man.
You know who
Another
I love?
one.
Caro, the contestant from season 1 of Love Island US.
Oh. I thought you were going to say Charo.
Oh, I love her too. She goes like, "Wah-ba-ba-ba-ba!" And then she like spins around. Yeah. She's wearing like real big pants all the time.
Yeah. Her book on Lyndon Johnson's very weird. It's a very strange take.
Was she in those old Navy commercials? Remember those classic old Navy commercials in the late 90s?
You know, I can safely say I don't really think in all my 50 years on this planet that I ever purchased anything from Old Navy.
I believe I have. You know, when I was in high school, there were gangs in my school.
Of course.
And one of them, they only wore Armani Exchange, and they called themselves the Armani Army.
High school is so fucking stupid. I can't even.
I know.
What a fucking. I went to high school with so many pieces of shit. I can't even get into. It's just unbelievable.
But I once had this idea that I bought a pair of Old Navy cargo shorts, and I was gonna start, forming my own gang.
Cargo Army?
And no, just call them to compete with the Armani Army, the Old Navy.
I like that. That's
Good. Wouldn't it be good?
Take off? Did it catch on?
No, but maybe I could still go back, like as an adult, recruit some kids. I don't know if the Armani Army's still a thing.
I don't know, man. You could always go for it.
All right. Anyway, crime's up 400%. Then it's 1997. They set us up there, and that's where the movie takes place. So the premise is that we live in sort of a crazy government. We're treated to about 5 minutes of exposition at the beginning of the movie through a VR sequence with the voice of an uncredited Jamie Lee Curtis. And
holy fuck! I didn't catch that.
Yes.
I didn't read that.
In both
All
movies.
right. He loves cameo narrative voiceovers. I was reading about some of his other ones. He's got Adrienne Barbeau in a bunch later on too. And
Well, Barbeau is his wife,
Well, yeah. But I mean, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think this movie has a really stacked cast. Like, this movie in particular is like all-star John Carpenter celebration.
Agreed. Whereas I think the second one is like stacked as well, but it's
Equally
doesn't.
amazing. And can I bring up Adrienne Barbeau? Because something
Please.
weird about her
Please
is
bring her up.
anytime I hear the name Adrienne Barbeau, I hear it in my head as Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Wait, what are you thinking of?
Nothing. I'm not
Oh,
thinking
okay.
of it.
This
What-
I don't know. I don't know why. It must be like the first time I ever heard that name.
They talk about her?
I think they were talking. It was like a list of like the hot ladies in Hollywood or something. I can just hear in my brain them going like Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh wow. At all. Okay. She's
Maybe
just
it was
somebody.
Bill and Ted. I don't know. One of those fucking things.
I just don't know. She was always one of those people who just had that name that I always knew, and I knew what she looked like. But when I was looking through her filmography, I've really only seen her in Creep Show, which is what I mainly know her from. I didn't even remember her role in this, and in The Fog, which I'd never made it all the way through.
She's the main lady in The Fog. Like she's the lead.
I thought it was somebody younger in The Fog. Who
Well,
was the?
it's hers. You know, she looks a little younger in that one.
I gotta make it through The Fog one of these days. I've just seen some of it, and I just can't. I don't know.
Hey, The Fog's a good movie, and if you're interested, check out the Tom Welling from Smallville remake of that movie because that's a pretty fun time too.
Figure it out. I'll take a little passola.
All right. Anyway, and she's also in Swamp Thing. She's great in Swamp Thing.
I never saw Swamp Thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to do that for the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, Barbeau.
Attitude.
What? All right. Anyway, so Jamie Lee Curtis is like describing the world as it exists, and it's like a crazy country. We really get more of what's going on in the country as a whole in the second one. We're mostly just told in this first one, Donald Pleasance is the president, and right away I'm like, okay, tell me more.
Yeah, I'm in, man.
Yeah.
Hey, number one.
Yeah. You're the Duke. You're the Duke. You're a number one.
God, if Donald Pleasance could have just been in every movie ever made.
I mean, he is. He's in so
We'd
many
be-
movies.
No, it'd be great. Anyway,
Hey, Snake. Hey, Snake. Get your ass away from there. All right.
yeah, I thought your A number one was right up there, tied with that line.
Not tied, but I mean, it is a classic. It's an instant classic. The second he's screaming, "You're a number one," while shooting over a giant wall, you're like, "Yep,
And
that's a good one."
It's also one of the only moments in the movie though that I don't understand, but we'll get there.
It doesn't fucking matter. All right, let's.
We'll get there.
So Snake Plissken, he's real fucking badass. All right, that's all you gotta know.
He has an eye patch and army pants. That's all you got.
Yeah,
camo.
they tell you shit like, yeah, he's in the military, whatever. He's like a fucking. He's done everything you could think of that's cool and badass. He's done it. All right.
Yeah.
So he's Kurt Russell. It's a great visual, isn't it?
Oh, it's perfect. It's iconic.
Yeah.
Very original, and it's great.
The hair, the outfit, the eye patch. The eye patch is really adds to it.
I agree.
It's funny, like long-time listener, I think day one listener, Aaron Holcomb, told me like, watch out for the Metal Gear Solid comparisons in the movie, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I played that game. I was a big fan of it. And the lead character is this guy, Solid Snake. And I never made the connection that it was a ripoff of Snake Plissken. But
I read
like
about
that whole
about that later in the wiki, but yeah.
that game is just like the whole object of the game is to like infiltrate this enormous base without anybody seeing you and like getting this shit. And his name is fucking Snake, and he talks in this voice like this. And then in the fucking second game, they even gave him a fucking eye patch. Like they were like, listen, I don't think enough people realize that this is a ripoff. Let's add an eye patch just so people really get it.
Wow, that's funny.
All right, so anyway, Snake, he's got to go into New York, which Manhattan is now a prison, all right? Cut off from the rest of... You know, I felt pretty good about living in Brooklyn watching this movie.
Yeah, they don't say anything about Brooklyn.
No,
so
I think we're fine.
Okay. Yeah. So Manhattan has become a prison island for all the prisoners in the country. And brilliant idea for a movie.
It's not
reality.
Bad.
Not reality.
Why not?
Right-wingers, listeners.
Why not?
I believe in sort of a humane treatment of prisoners. You know, prison reform. I don't really want to stick them all on an island. That's kind of what right-wingers want to do to people like atheists and.
But what about violent offenders? Let's just send them to Texas.
That's what they did to Australia. That's what Australia was way back in the day.
What are you talking about?
Australia was originally they sent everyone who was bad in England just to Australia, and that's what it was.
No wonder Australia's a fucking mess. Well, I talked shit about Australia a few days ago.
It's a mess now.
A few episodes ago, remember I talked shit about Australia, and everybody had Australia's back.
Well, because they do a lot of things right. I'm talking like 100 years ago, dude. 150 years
They might as well still be a fucking prison planet over there.
Hey, they had one mass shooting 25 years ago. They banned guns. I mean, they do certain things with common sense, man.
COVID's running wild.
They killed all the Aborigines, so that's not great.
It's not. Hey, we did that too, though. Don't worry about it.
Correct. I know. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, it's a great idea for a movie. It's such a great conceit. And, you know, it's just like a great visual. And, you know, I like that the exposition's very quick. You know, they don't fuck around. All the best.
You know, they make it visually interesting by giving it that kind of future tinge. You've got the Carpenter score underscoring the whole thing, and it's like 3 minutes at the very beginning of the movie, and then you never have to deal with exposition again.
That's correct.
It's really nice.
Another great part of this movie that I noticed, I didn't want to forget to mention, and it's definitely not applied to the second movie, is the very, very there's a very lack of score throughout this entire movie. Like, there's very little music in this movie at all. So there's like long stretches where there's just silence because there's not a lot of talking. And they're just like walking through the streets or running through the streets, and it's not punctuating a lot of action, which I found very interesting. I thought it would have some of those percussive drum beats and shit that you know, Carpenter's known for, but I mean,
Carpenter's known for percussive drum beats. What are you talking about?
Gong gong, gong gong.
What is that?
Gong gong.
You're just saying gung gung.
Yeah, gung gung, like Gunga Din. Lead him to water.
Or Gungans, like Jar Jar Binks.
No, he's got like that kind of. He usually has like an undertone of scariness, like of ominous strings. So you have no idea what I'm talking about.
It's moody.
Oh my god, I get no help from this. Close his ears and not listen. Yeah, but anyway, I liked it. I liked the absence of music. It was refreshing.
All right, so the government is going to send Pliskin into New York because the president. How did he get in there?
The plane was hijacked. They flew
right.
into a building, and he went in out of an escape pod. But he's got a briefcase tied to his wrist that contains a tape on nuclear fusion that he needs to get to, of all places, Hartford, Connecticut. Why he's flying there, I have no idea. Just drive. It's very close.
You don't know what the roads are like in the future?
Good point. And
It could be like the Jetsons.
yeah, it's true. So they want him to get.
What if John Carpenter
Say-
belatedly revealed that Escape from New York took place in the Jetsons universe?
Pretty cool.
I would be
His
into that.
His boy Elroy.
Jane, his wife.
Astro,
Daughter Judy.
Astro. Isn't the dog Astro?
Yeah, of course, and the robot's Rosie,
Loved that show when I was a little
and
kid.
his boss is Mr. Spacely.
Of course, Mr. Spacely.
You can
Yeah.
listen to We Love Kids movies on patreon.com/thefranchise to hear Shut Up Tim and I talk about Jetsons Meet the Flintstones.
Ooh.
Yeah, we covered that. All right, back to this. So Donald Pleasance trapped in New York. President Pleasance. Pliston's got to get him. He's going to go in by taking a plane on top of the World Trade Center. Great.
Looking plane too. I like that. It's like I mean, that was an invention too, I assume, or maybe it exists in real life. I'm not much onto aeronautical engineering.
Yeah, you know who worked on that effect?
No.
A young James Cameron.
Oh, I did read that. That fucking guy's got his fucking dirty mitts and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is like a year before Piranha 2: The Spawning, so he's still working VFX. So anyway, they inject Pliskin with this disease or whatever. That's
No,
like,
bombs.
oh, it's a disease in the second one, right? It's it's a bomb or whatever, and after 24 hours or 20 hours or something, it's going to explode, and he's fucking dead if he doesn't find the president. So, you know, a man of few words, Pliskin's just sort of like, all right, let's go.
I'm gonna kill you when I get back.
Yeah. I do like his whole thing at the beginning. He insists on call me Snake.
Makes no sense at all. And then at the end, he's called me Pliskin.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't even like you anymore. I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt. Don't even call me that shit.
He doesn't like him in the beginning, so it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Nick Castle wrote that line. Let's get. He also directed Mr. Wrong. Let's give him a break.
Yeah, get the name, man.
All right, so Russell gets in through the World Trade Center. The buildings stay up the whole time he's in them. And he gets down to the pavement, walks out of there. Yeah, he walked down.
That's a long way.
That's such a long walk.
That's a long way.
You don't think about it. Like, I would give up right there. Like, if I was Snake Plissken, the second I got down from the World Trade Center, I'd get like down 50 flights, and I would call them back. I'd just be like, just kill me.
Actually, I'll tell you what. First of all, I wouldn't even get there because I'd be like, wait a second. Before they even get to the injection part of the theory, they're like when they're telling them what the plan is to get on the World Trade Center, land there, and then climb down. I'd be like, whoa. Is my second option just a life sentence on Manhattan? Yeah, I'll take that. I'm good.
Honestly, like,
Cut me off. I can fend for myself. I'm Snake Plissken.
these aren't. It's not that bad. Like, in prison, you're behind bars.
It's just you can go anywhere you want in this town.
Yeah, you're given food, like shitty food, and like you have rec time. Like, they run every second of your life when you're in prison. In these movies, they're just like free roaming. They're down there. Like, I understand that you're only with criminals, so most of them are like evil and wanting to be like king of the prison or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't seem
big island.
all that bad, especially L.A. Like, L.A. in the second one, they said that's where they were sending all the people that committed like moral crimes. So I'm thinking like that's where they're sending like all the drug addicts and like sex people and like
Heaven.
Like, I would want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, the rest of the country seems like it's like fucking Gilead from The Handmaid's Tale, and like I want to go to prison, of course.
Yeah. If I had to pick, though, I'd rather go to Manhattan for a prison, you can go to LA. I want to go to Manhattan because there's more buildings. You probably have more space to yourself. LA, you're too exposed, too much outdoorsy shit. Manhattan, you can take like a little corner anywhere you want. You could go to the Bowery, you go Midtown, Uptown. You can go anywhere you want. You just find an apartment building. You live rent free. You know.
Yeah, it just seemed like LA was more of a party. Like in New York, they're fending for themselves. They're watching like some sort of homemade play that they came up with.
I'd still hate musicals even if I was in prison in Manhattan, so I wouldn't go to that like Ernie Borgnine. But in LA, his hellscape is too much. I don't like that. The plastic surgeon shit and all that shit. I don't want to be around that shit.
Know. I'd hang out with that one dude just surfing all the time, Peter Fonda.
By the way, I started to see for the first time ever a little bit of your criticism of Peter Fonda.
Yeah, I know. He's pretty untalented, right? People only like him for that one movie. Easy Rider, right?
Oh,
Loved him in this. Bitchin'. Okay.
All right.
So Pliskin, he's walking around. You know, he finds New York's big, Manhattan. There's a lot going on in Manhattan, but he finds this right away. He knows just where the president is, and he starts walking around near a chock full of nuts. He goes into there. I appreciated of course, the great imagery, right? That's a metaphor, because in this prison, New York, it is chock full of nuts.
I thought you were about to say you need nuts to, like, be in there, you know? You gotta like have some balls to survive.
No, there's just like it's a nut house basically.
Yeah, it's a nut house. I didn't catch that metaphor. It was
very clever.
Went over my caught the National Liberation Front as a Viet Cong reference. I did not catch the chock full of nuts.
Oh, well, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Forget
so
it.
You know, we're slowly introduced to the cast. It's sort of like. Pliskin picks up some hangers-on as the movie goes along.
Yeah, as is the case.
Yeah, so first he meets Ernest Borgnine in a playhouse, and then they, I think it's supposed to be like Radio City or something, and he's a cabbie, named Cabbie, and takes him out in his cab, and, you know, what luck to find a cab with keys in a prison? Then you have a job.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cabbie, and they're all talking about the Duke.
The Duke is sort of the king of the prison. All right.
Oh, before they even bring Pliskin in, there's a scene when Lee Van fucking Cleef,
I know,
and Tom Atkins, who I think is in The Fog, right?
He's in a lot of... Yeah, he's definitely in The Fog. Actually, his character in The Fog, by the way, named Nick Castle.
Perfect. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef tries to go into New York first, and
he's
then...
also in Halloween 3, by the way. Great. He's the lead in Halloween 3.
Tom Atkins, you're right.
Yeah.
Of course. Lee Van Cleef leads a rescue team to go in there, and the Duke's servant with the mohawk scares him away and says, you know, don't come back or we'll kill him. So that precedes all of the snake stuff, and then they decide to get snakes. So an entire team of commandos is intimidated by this Duke fella. And
who could blame them?
Yeah, that guy's really intimidating, the 90-pound mohawk.
Oh, no, I was referring to Isaac Hayes.
Of course, but you don't see him. You just see this little guy come out and be like...
Sure. Oh, yeah. He's a little spooky. I wouldn't want a guy making that noise at me. And he laughs. He's choking on seltzer. All right. So, then we meet Harry Dean Stanton, and he's in this movie playing a character named The Brain.
Great stuff.
And it seems like he was like friends with Snake in another life.
They were co-criminals. Yes.
Oh, that's right. They worked with a third criminal named Fresno Bob. I always like that detail.
And Harry Dean left him. I believe he was like either the pickup guy or the whatever, and they left him. He got Snake caught, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other guy died or whatever.
Yeah, he's not a rule breaker, the Brain. So Pliskin collects Brain, Cabby, and now Adrienne Barbeau, who's she's a sexy lady.
Yes.
And they find the president. I mean, that's the movie.
They have little adventures along the way, but it's like a subtle movie. It's kind of slow. There's not a lot of action.
No, and it's only an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's very isolated scenery, isolated.
It's very spare. Even like a lot of directors, are bigger than John Carpenter. John Carpenter likes things to be very sort of like spare and small. Even like They Live, which is a movie about like an alien invasion, like the big climax of that movie is just sort of like running around a building, running around corridors. So
I think that was his 80s, and that was his 70s and 80s sensibility. I think that changed.
I don't think it did change. I think it changed by necessity. In the 90s, John Carpenter was having trouble getting movies made, and I think maybe his vision was compromised by what he was allowed to put out.
Mm-hmm. I only say just because of his comments on Escape from L.A. It seemed like he got to make exactly the movie he wanted to make. So,
look, he says very nice things about Escape from L.A. I know he always says it's better than the first one. Escape from L.A. was Kurt Russell's baby, and I think that John Carpenter talks about it a certain way in public because Kurt Russell has a fondness for the film that he doesn't.
It's very nice.
Yeah, which I understand. I mean, Kurt Russell's career was down at that point, and Snake Plissken was his favorite character he ever played. It was a big deal for him to get to play it again.
True.
All right, so they find the fucking Duke. Let's talk about Isaac Hayes, who ends up being like a pretty major villain in this movie for a little while. Yeah, of course, turned into a pretty big villain in real life, too.
What's his deal again? He's a Scientologist, right?
Well, he's dead now. We're happy about that. But Isaac Hayes, of course, fell down the horrible rabbit hole of Scientology. At this point in his career, 1981, he was still, riding high on the one good song he ever wrote. And so he was getting roast.
What are you talking about? Which song are you talking about? Because
Theme from Shaft.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Yeah. No, I my favorite Isaac Hayes song is the one that you can't pronounce. It's like Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh, yeah. What a classic. It'll go down in
history. It is a classic. Yeah. You can check it out in the movie Zodiac by David Fincher.
Mm-hmm. That's what everyone remembers about that movie.
Yeah, they do. It's a great fucking song.
So Isaac...
What happened to him, yeah?
No, he discovered Scientology in about 1987 and became one of the worst and most staunch defenders of Scientology in the media. To the point where, of course, there was that big flap with South Park, where he was the voice of Chef on South Park, and everyone remembers they did an episode called Trapped in the Closet that was about Scientology, where, they did it. It was a critique of Scientology, and they basically said in no edited terms what Scientology preaches and what it believes. Mm-hmm. And of course, Isaac Hayes came out in the press and said it's all lies, and they shouldn't have done that. And if they ever talk about Scientology again, I'm quitting the show. And South Park was basically like, we don't want you back on the show. And then they proceeded to be real big assholes, and they brought Chef back and only used old Isaac Hayes recordings to make it sound like Chef had become a pedophile.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, Isaac Hayes is legacy, which should be fantastic, and
Right.
I'm being an asshole because I used to love Isaac Hayes before all this shit.
Yeah.
Before I knew about all this shit.
Right.
It just it's not good. He passed away with a legacy of with a compromised legacy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, he's the Duke in this, and I think he's fucking awesome in this. This is before he discovered Scientology. He still had a fucking brain in his head, and every Scientologist shouldn't be like let's be honest. Tom Cruise shouldn't be allowed to work in Hollywood.
Yeah, of course not. No, but
if you guys I don't drop people. I stick with people to the bitter end. But you people, like you, Henry,
yeah,
that drop people, that cancel people and decide not to watch their work anymore because of stuff that they've done in their personal lives. In all honesty, you should never watch a Tom Cruise movie ever again. He's a real piece of shit.
Yeah, the thing is with me is I guess it's more like I've said this before on the show, but I don't know. It's I have these different weird barometers that affect me. You know what I mean? And Scientology's horrendous, horrific, and all that. But so is evangelical Christianity. And I hate. I mean, Scientology can call itself a religion, whatever. It's a cult. But I despise religion.
Yeah,
on
me too.
any level. I mean, I really do. And I have for most of my life. And so I don't like any of them. And let's face it, most people do believe in something and are contributing to, I'm really sounding like a fucking SJW here, but an oppressive regime of any kind. So I don't like any of them. And they all make me sick. But I guess I tend to have a bigger problem when people have physically hurt other people or have physically hurt children or women or or things like that.
Where's David Miscavige's wife?
I don't know. What do you mean?
He's the number 2 guy in Scientology. His wife has been missing for years.
I didn't know that. Yeah, no, I fucking hate it. You're right. You're absolutely right. And when I do see Tom Cruise, it's uncomfortable. That's for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what can I do with you asking me to justify why I watch Tom Cruise movies? I don't know.
I just think that to the people listening, I'm talking directly to you, Henry. I went on my whole thing about Mel Gibson, which
was justified.
I think listeners, even the ones that disagreed with me on that subject, felt that I was justified in my criticism.
You are.
I think we could be making the exact same criticisms about literally everyone involved in the Church of Scientology.
Yeah,
and we're kind of not. We're kind of just letting them have it.
You're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I can't argue that. I don't know. It's a problem, It's a fucking issue, because covering movies, because they're all fucking nuts, and and it's not all
and they're
of them.
riddled with Scientologists.
Yeah, and they're riddled with all kinds of problems. A lot of racists, and and it's a toughie, man. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's
but
not
those things, racist stuff, you have to fuck up in the press, right? You have to be caught saying something stupid, or Scientologist you are telling me by being a Scientologist that at the baseline of your very core, this is your belief system. You're a piece of shit.
Correct. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that's one of my things with preferring nuance when as a society we are I really don't like the phrase cancel culture. And is there another?
I mean, I know what you're going for. It's a very one strike you're out kind of a.
Yeah, I don't like that because I think it should be more nuanced because I think it gets people like Al fucking Franken to resign a Senate seat that is helping people in the
He wouldn't resign if it was today. It was a different time.
It was fucking nonsense. And, so just, I don't like lumping everybody together into the same thing. He's not the same as a rapist. So I don't like that aspect of it. I prefer nuance in it. But as far as Scientology goes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think, actually, just real quick, and we got to get back to the movie.
Yeah.
But I think that on what you talk about, a very key thing is if you're caught. And I think that's one of the things that Scientologists, Cruise included, besides like several major missteps of public speaking, because he's not a smart man.
He's been so careful since since that happened.
And I think that's why he gets a pass from a lot of people, because he's not out there constantly talking about it in interviews anymore.
He's also not trying to like compete for awards anymore. I feel like Tom Cruise would get blowback if he was like at the Oscars every year. He's literally just going like, hey, want to see me as Ethan Hunt again? Want to see me as fucking Maverick again? And everyone's like, sure.
Yeah, he's like under the radar as much as a Tom Cruise can be compared to how he used to be in the 80s and 90s. And even
2000s, like up until the Katie Holmes debacle.
Right. So I think it would be different, I don't know. I guess maybe it's out of sight, out of mind type thing.
Is Kurt Russell a Scientologist?
No, I didn't.
Definitely not?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I just know I didn't care for the fact that he was a libertarian, but whatever.
Let's see. I'm looking up his personal life.
Yeah, read it.
Let's see. He's got a lot of homes. He was once married to the girl that he met in the Chock full of Nuts store in this movie. Then he married Goldie Hawn. They never got married, actually. They just like have a long career,
right.
long life together. He was brought up as a Republican, but at the end of the day, there wasn't much difference between Democrats and Republicans. That's his feelings.
And you know that really, and you know me well, Dan. You know that annoys the living.
I know, it's your least favorite thing. I used to be one of those guys.
Well, continue.
Yeah, he's hunter, gun rights guy, private pilot. I don't know. He seems like a decent guy. It's just like a dude. Yeah.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's not a very political fella.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not that bright. He's probably he's Kurt Russell. He's been Kurt Russell for a really long time.
That would be a great show to do. Oh my God, that would be a great order up.
What?
Top 10 or top 20 people we think actually are smart actors, like have a brain.
Oh, I could make that list, sure. Honestly, listening to podcasts and watching Inside the Actors Studio for so many years, you really get a sense of which ones have a brain in their heads.
It's true. I watched Inside the Actors Studio forever. Yeah. You're right on that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Wow.
So anyway, back to Escape from New York. Well, they're the team. They get on the bridge. This is the big climax of the movie. It's the 69th Street Bridge.
Yeah, I thought that was an odd choice, but hey, why not?
Well, they do the same thing in L.A. Like, there's that fake Disney World.
Yeah, I don't know. I was out.
You talking shit? Oh my God, is this going to be the fight of my life?
No, to be honest, I actually appreciated that it wasn't the Brooklyn Bridge or the usual suspects. It was like something that, you don't see a lot.
It wasn't Gabriel Byrne. It was not Stephen Baldwin. None of them.
No. And you lost me. I lost my fucking train of thought.
Because of that classic joke.
Yeah, that I set you up for like a fucking curling iron.
Like a curling iron? What the fuck did that mean?
I don't know.
Are you playing word association?
I was trying to put a curling reference in there for fun. Like a broom to a curling puck.
Oh, you want to play the Heavy Hitters theme?
I don't think we need to do that. Anyway, yeah, we did skip some major parts of the movie, but whatever.
What?
What'd you think of the gladiator match?
Oh, right. That is a major part of the movie. I mean, it's way better than the one in the second one. I think it's fun. He's fighting a wrestler, and
You had a hard time picking an LVP in this movie because I thought everybody, even the little bit parts, were so well cast. And I thought of everybody, and I really tried. And so I eventually just kind of settled on the wrestler just because.
oh yeah.
He could have been cooler. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's true. They could have chosen like. What if it was like Mr. T or something? Like I wish it was someone weird like that.
Because they got Isaac Hayes and they got Harry Dean Stanton, and they clearly were able to get these people. So it's like, get what Mr.
Yeah,
T.
and it's clearly like, John Carpenter is a dude who he's not anti-wrestling. He cast Rowdy Roddy Piper in the lead of one of his best movies.
Absolutely true. And he thinks outside the box for casting.
And outside the bun. So he,
that was good.
Anyway, he should have used like Junkyard Dog here or something. What if it was JYD in this spot?
God. Oh, I'd lose my fucking shit.
Yeah, we all would.
Just every day. Yeah. Or the Chihuahua from the Taco Bell commercials.
Very good, yeah. Yeah. Liv Mas.
Imagine those fucking commercials, and they were on, and it was like, oh, that's funny, cute little Chihuahua saying, I want tacos in Spanish.
It was so popular.
That's
like
fantastic.
Yo Quiero Taco Bell. Those commercials were in like every commercial break for like 5 years of my life.
I didn't condemn them.
You condemned them?
Not at the time.
No, I thought they were funny.
Business as usual.
Yeah.
The 90s.
So ridiculous. Well, we loved anthropomorphic animals in commercials at that point in time. Do you remember those? This was my favorite. I think it was like a Bud commercial. And it was somebody getting phone calls. It was like when a stranger calls, all right? And the guy's picking up the phone, and they say, and he calls the cops, can you trace the calls, right?
Okay.
And the calls, somebody's calling and just saying, doobie doobie doo. And he's freaked out. He calls the cops. What's going on? The cops say, the calls are coming from inside the house. The guy goes upstairs into the attic. There's a cute little penguin.
Don't remember that at all.
It was a series of commercials.
No fucking clue what you're talking about. Wow. I thought you were going to reference the frogs with the Budweiser thing.
Honestly, the first time I saw When a Stranger Calls, I was like, oh, this is like that penguin commercial.
Jesus. That was and what was that for?
I want to say Bud. Bud had all kinds of commercials.
Yeah, they did.
I bet you if I Google penguin doobie doobie doo, it'll come right up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
It did. It came right up, Henry.
That's
it's a
terrible.
Bud Ice commercial. Here. This is a different one. Oh, see, he's on a train. He's trying to escape. Then he pulls it out. It's a Bud Ice. And there's the penguin. He's sitting across from him on the train. It's terrifying. And now the penguin, the cute penguin, has a Bud Ice. He's very happy.
I don't know this at all.
Right?
That's not from the 90s. That can't be.
It is. It's from the 90s.
Jesus
All right.
Christ. All right.
So, what other parts of the movie do you want to talk about?
Well, the bridge crossing is great. There's
Yeah.
a lot of great scenes. There's a lot of cool. I like when Isaac Hayes is like shooting at the president. They got Pleasance tied up. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. The movie's not gratuitous. It's not even that violent. It's just very spare and empty in the most positive sense, and just well constructed. And I do think there might be a contingent of people who find this movie boring or slow. I'm not one of them. I think it's got everything Carpenter's sensibility, and I was actually pleased because I was expecting, having not seen it in a long, long time, I was expecting it to be a little more chock full of action and guns and and it really isn't.
Just not.
It's kind of quiet. There's like, I love the scene at the library. That's great. With Harry Dean Stanton when like they take place in the New York Public Library.
Yeah.
And I read this whole fucking movie for the most part was filmed in St. Louis. That was depressing because that was a terrible rundown area, East St. Louis. And I actually thought of the scene we covered and talked about in Vacation. When
that classic scene.
In that horribly racist scene, and that just gives you the zeitgeist about what was going on in the Reagan era of East St. Louis. Just what people thought about that area. So
there's always one city like that in America. Like because of The Wire in the aughts, it was Baltimore, and then because of like all the Trump rhetoric, now it's Chicago. Like
for a long time it was Detroit.
Yes, absolutely.
And RoboCop and a lot of things, and I guess East St. Louis, I don't remember really anything taking place there, but and it in the movie it's not St. Louis, but I think I read that Carpenter got his location dude to find the worst places in America to film.
That was the idea. Yeah, he wanted it to, and you can tell he wanted it to be spare because I think he specifically asked for like long spaces, like where it would be like 3 empty blocks in a row that he could just work on. Yeah.
It was all filmed at night. I love that. Sometimes it was even hard to see shit, and I like that too. But
I don't feel that way. I think like there's such a difference in the two sides of the movie, which I appreciate. There's like the sort of metallic sheen of the opening scenes with Lee Van Cleef and shit, and then once he gets into New York, there's really only natural light in New York, so it is kind of dark. Yeah.
I mean it as a bad thing.
Yeah, I dig that.
It creates an atmosphere where you really don't know what's going on in the background, and that's a good thing. It's cool. You see cars from a distance and all that kind of shit.
We cross the 69th Street Bridge looking for mines. Of course, a classic part of Metal Gear Solid is you have a mine detector and have to find mines. And they are crossing in Ernest Borgnine's car. He's playing some classic American bandstand music. They're enjoying it. But the car gets blown up. Boy, the mines really affect them. And by the time they get across this bridge, they're all fucking dead.
All dead. Barbeau stays behind to try to fend off Isaac Hayes and shoot him. That doesn't work out for her. She gets Christined right into the other car. And I
loved HDS's death, man. He goes fucking flying.
Yeah, that was great. So here's the moment that wraps up the movie, and I love the ending of the movie. It's fucking classic. It's great. It's cynical. It's true. But if the president, he gets the president up the wall. Okay, first.
Yeah. By the way, to Station 19, which is the title of a Grey's Anatomy spinoff, and now I wonder if that's a reference to Escape from New York.
I doubt it.
All right.
Are they that smart on Grey's Anatomy?
Yes. Come on. All right.
So then Pleasance, Hayes shoots upwards, kills 2 guards, and then Pleasance comes back and saves Pliskin from Isaac Hayes. He kills him, says, "You're right, #1, Doc," and all that shit. So it led me to believe that, like, oh man, fucking Mr. President came back, a little bit of balls on him, because, it seemed like he'd just leave him. And then he doesn't. Mm-hmm. He's a piece of shit. So it's kind of like, well, why would he have even saved Pliskin?
Oh, Henry, when your back is against the wall, you can do amazing things, and then the very next day go right back to being a shitty person. Just think of all the Republicans that denounced Trump in the days following January 6th, only to go right back to being a huge piece of shit afterwards.
That's a good point. And actually, there weren't even that many that did it on the day.
But there was there were a couple of big ones, like even Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, and then they just fucking fucked off.
They all voted to not impeach.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, I loved this moment because I hate all authority figures and all rich people, and anybody who ever wanted to be a politician is probably a piece of shit, including Abraham Lincoln. And so,
Lincoln jokes on today's. Follow up next week when we we talk about John C. Calhoun.
All right, so I particularly liked the moment where Snake goes up to him looking for some humanity from him, because he's about to deliver this speech to the American public, and Snake thinks like, all right, so what are you going to say now?
I think that's one of the reasons why I could even you're kind of getting me clear on here a little bit. I think that one of the reasons why is he saved his life. So maybe he even Snake in his head is like, oh, okay, he's not all that bad.
Exactly. And Donald Pleasance, this is his best moment in the entire movie. I love him in this moment because he does a lot of business with it. Like the line is. Well, of course, this nation appreciates their sacrifice, and and he's just so full of shit. But during that line, he very casually takes out a compact and looks at himself in the mirror.
Oh,
it's
beautiful.
So great.
That really is. It really is. Yeah.
And then Snake walks over to Lee Van Cleef, who offers him a job, and like, how about coming to work for us, Snake?
Yeah.
The name's Pliskin.
Yeah, call me Pliskin. Yeah.
He doesn't so much say his lines as he exhales them.
Yeah, that's right. Exhales them, right. And then Pleasance plays the tape that's supposed to save the world from nuclear war between Russia and China, and instead Pliskin changes them out and gives him Borgnine's bandstand tape.
Yeah.
Great moment, and he rips apart the other one as he walks away.
End of movie. You don't need anything else. Today you'd have 20 minutes of epilogue. What do you give it?
5.
I agree. It's a 5-star movie. I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
there's not a thing I'd change about this movie.
I'm looking forward to watching it again. Great movie, a lovely. I was just happy that I hadn't seen it so much. I was thinking I had and I have not, and it's a new addition to my canon now.
Yeah.
So
it's a real Bobby Brown situation.
Watch one of those things where I'd like. What'd you say?
It's a real Bobby Brown situation.
Yeah.
New addition.
Right. It's one of those ones. I think it would be fun to have like the Blu-ray with commentary with Russell and Carpenter. That might be fun. I know their commentary on The Thing is fucking great.
Really? I've never heard any of that. I've never heard a Carpenter commentary.
Oh, fucking on The Thing? I actually was your copy.
I have that Blu-ray.
And I have it on Blu-ray now, but I didn't when we lived together, and I watched it with their commentary when we lived together. It was fucking hilarious. They're great together, Carpenter and Russell, talking about the film.
Who's your MVP, buddy?
It's got to be Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like,
There's a lot of choices, but
I knew you were going to go with Kurt Russell, so I just want to say Donald Pleasance, but Kurt Russell is so fucking perfect for this movie. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he is.
And, I mean, the fact that Carpenter was able to see that is impressive to me, because this was not the type of role that he was known for at this time at all. He was the fucking computer wore tennis shoes. He was Elvis,
we've talked about it a couple times on the show, but I always have, and you do too, I know, but I'm always astounded at directors and casting directors who see things in people that pulls them out of something they're completely unassociated with.
Yeah.
I am always, my mind is just always blown, truly, and I mean that for real. Like anytime we see a movie and they just pull somebody who's known for one thing and they get them into this other project, and I'm just like, how did they know this would work?
It's a real talent, and it can change an entire movie, and it can change an entire filmmaker. I think Tarantino is only. Like, he makes great movies, but I think part of the reason his movies are so great is because of all the casting surprises.
I think you're right. I think the only thing I would say on that, I agree with you. Obviously, he's resurrected more careers than anybody. I don't think anyone could hold a candle to that. He's resurrected more careers. But the only thing I'll say is that Tarantino had a leg up in that he was picking people who were already famous. I'm talking about like people who. So when he picks Robert Forster, he's picking it from like what he liked him when he was on. What was it?
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He picks Pam Grier. You know, he picks Samuel L.
Hey, John Carpenter picked Pam Grier.
Yeah. But like, it's a bigger talent, I think, to see something in somebody who hasn't shown themselves in that light in any way before. So anyway, moving on, because this is 1318. Okay, go ahead. That was military time.
What? Oh yeah. Yeah, good. You know, they speak in military time in these movies, I noticed.
Yeah, Did you understand what time it was when the movie was happening?
Yes, only because I worked for the MTA for a while, and they did everything in military time there.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about... Oh, who's your LVP?
A wrestler.
Oh, right, you said that already.
I didn't know.
I'll go with Season Hubley.
Fair enough. I almost picked her. Yeah. And then I felt bad because I figured I didn't know when I picked this, I didn't know she was his wife. But I just felt bad picking like one of two women in the fucking movie. You know.
I want to say one other thing real quick, just about Carpenter. Like, I found it interesting the character names he used in this movie. The references to other filmmakers in particular. So there's a character named Romero in this movie, but
holy shit.
But there's also a character named Cronenberg
in
Escape from New York. Yeah, he's referenced by name more than once.
Jesus Christ, it never me.
I found that really fascinating because of the year we're looking at. It's 1981. Like, Cronenberg is a really new filmmaker.
Yeah, man.
And working in the same milieu that Carpenter works in. And to me, Carpenter at the time, the comparisons were with Wes Craven.
Oh.
They were the horror masters.
That's funny.
And to me,
so different.
This might be Carpenter saying... The real contemporary of my work is David Cronenberg.
I like that.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
I think him naming a character in this movie Cronenberg is like a silent show of support for that man's films.
That's fucking great. Mm-hmm. That's great. Cronenberg was like in the nascent stages, really. I mean,
nascent, but you can have fun with that word.
Yeah, I sometimes long A's I get confused. What did Cronenberg was like Shivers by that point, and
well, I think Scanners came out in 81, so like he was working on that. But yeah, it was mostly like Shivers, Rabid, you know, The Brood, those movies.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, that's great. Great observation. Holy shit.
Thank you, Henry. I make so many great observations on the show. Okay,
there's one too.
Thanks. Next up. Escape from LA. Let's talk about it. They come back 15 years later. There was actually a script not associated with Carpenter written in the 80s for like a sequel to Escape from New York, and it never got made. But Russell decided in the 90s he wanted to make another Snake Plissken movie. And Carpenter, who was like struggling getting shit made, his last two movies had tanked pretty badly. The Chevy Chase Memoirs of an Invisible Man, and
love it,
which is good, and In the Mouth of Madness with Sam Neill, which is great. Both great movies, but
I don't think
they
that all the way
tanked real bad. So this was an opportunity for John Carpenter. It's a character people know him for. With the original actor attached, and it's a movie that he knows is at least going to get promoted, you know?
Yeah.
So he signs on for this. He writes the script with Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell apparently wrote a large amount of the script, and they also brought in Deborah Hill to co-write, who was Carpenter's producing partner.
Yeah, longtime producer.
Yeah, she worked on, you know, Halloween and shit.
Yeah.
So this comes out August 9th, 1996, on a budget of $50 million. $50 million!
Yeah,
I mean, too much.
Yes, it is. I'd say a lot of that went to Russell and all these little cameos. I don't
I
know.
would say probably too much of that went to CGI.
I don't think enough.
No, I think the problem with the CGI in this movie is it looks cutting edge for 1996, aka horrible.
I don't even agree with that because
No,
I
but
remember
look at stuff like Spawn from this period. Like, you read the reviews of those movies, critics thought they looked cool.
I understand that, but when I this is a true memory. I remember thinking in one of the trailers they were showing Kurt Russell surfing.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Okay, and I just remember thinking like, what the fuck? Like, it looks horrible.
Yeah.
And in the trailer, and I was like, what is this supposed to be, like a campy thing?
I think it kind of is. I think Carpenter chose to own that shit.
You're right, but I'm talking about 18-year-old Henry in 1996. I'm
Sure.
looking at the trailer going, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, because honestly, but no, I hear you on the CGI of the era, but still, I mean, holy shit. So, well, you got to pick one then, Daniel. You got to pick. Was he owning it at the time, or was it shitty CGI? You just said it was shitty. I mean, what is it?
I think that he was working with he was working with a CGI company that was trying things, but they were like apparently an inexperienced CGI house that like he was just assigned to through the studio. And I gotta think, like, it looked cool for the time, but this is not shit Carpenter's into. There's not a lot of CGI in any of his other movies,
No,
with
it's
the
all
one
practical.
exception of Ghosts of Mars, and which was originally written as a third Escape from New York movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he rewrote the Snake Plissken part as the Ice Cube character.
Nice.
So, I mean, I think he saw these effects coming back and was like, "This is pretty fun. Let's do this."
You could be right. I think that you were alluding to. I like Carpenter. One of the reasons I like him is because of his practicality, and his use of special effects is certainly prevalent in all his movies, but it's practical, it's real, it's like, and I was like, what? I mean, God bless him for
but
trying
most of
to have
that is
fun,
here
but-
too, right? Like, if you look at the sets
Yeah,
and stuff, like, most of it does look just as, like, homemade as Escape from New York, with the exception of these action scenes, which use, like, ridiculous, visual
but
gags.
the VR in '81 for Escape from New York holds up so much better than any special effect in the 1996 movie. I mean, and
I think the VR in the 81 movie looks like VR from 1981, whereas VR in this one looks like VR from 1996. And I think just on a certain level, both of us like the aesthetic of 81 better.
Oh yeah, well, so you do
Yeah.
prefer aesthetic, yeah.
Yeah, but I like this movie. Like, it doesn't turn me off this movie the way it would some.
Yeah. I was on board for a little bit with this movie, and it just lost me. And
All right, well, we'll
I
get
was
into
sad.
it.
I was sad for most of it.
All right, from the $50 million budget, it made only 25.5 at the box office. It came in at number 63 for the year. Made slightly less than Kelsey Grammer's Down Periscope, and slightly more than the actually very good Jeff Daniels Anna Paquin Bird movie, Fly Away Home.
Oh yeah, passed on that. Yeah.
Nominated for 2 Saturn Awards. We don't need
All
to do
right.
the theme again.
No, we don't.
Best costumes, it lost to, of course, Star Trek First Contact. And best science fiction movie, it got that nomination. And it lost, of course, to by far the best science fiction movie of 1996, ID4, Independence Day.
All right. Yeah.
All right. And that's it for the stats. Let's get into it. So, remember all the stuff that happened in the first movie?
Yeah.
Again, but in LA.
Correct. Except this time it isn't prisoners. And in the opening narration, I know you were thinking it too. I've never seen this movie, though. You have. So we jump to, what is it, 2013?
Correct.
I think. So we're in 2013, and we have a theocracy, and we are anti-immigrant. We are against atheists. We are against any undesirables from South America, Mexico. It's, I would say, a tad prescient.
You know what, though? Not quite. Because we were doing a different sort of thing where, yes, that was all true. But liberals back then, in the 90s, thought it was like everybody should just be allowed to do whatever they want. Whereas now, liberals think that people should only be allowed to do what liberals want. And so there's other things in this movie where they say red meat has been outlawed and hunting has been outlawed, things that conservatives would be very, very against. That would never exist in like a theocracy.
I thought those were odd inclusions for what I thought at the beginning was a left-leaning point.
But I think they're of the time. I think like the liberal idea of conservatives was just anti-everything, where we later learned that like conservatives are just the most selfish creatures on the planet, and they believe no one should have anything and they should have everything.
Well, this is true. And they also used to actually, and I've hated them my whole life, but there actually used to be a platform. Like they actually had shit they quote unquote cared about. And
they still have a platform. It's Parler.
That's Parler.
That's their Twitter. The conservatives got knocked off Twitter. Now they're on Parler.
Oh, good for them.
That's their social media platform.
Now they don't care about anything that they cared about back in the good old 90s or even aughts. They don't care about anything. Debt reduction, gay marriage. They don't care about anything. They just follow the leader. That's all they care about. They have no platform, so it's fucking hilarious. But you raise an interesting point, which I did find the red meat inclusion interesting. I was like, oh,
and hunting,
that's
like they're anti-gun in this world, which I found really interesting.
Very odd. Yeah. Strange choices, but whatever. Yeah, but it's still for the most part. I mean, that's what
it's going for. It's going for like a Gilead kind of a situation.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So this movie picks up. Snake is called back wearing the same outfit as the first one. He looks great. And he's any aging that Kurt Russell's done. It's like his face is a little puffier, but everything else looks perfect.
He looks great. Yeah.
He looks great. Yeah.
He's like my age in this movie, or a little older, but I think I looked at his age because I was very curious. And when they were filming New York, he would have been 29.
He's 45 in this movie, so he is your age exactly.
So I mean, he looks pretty goddamn good. I mean, Yeah. So
he's called in. The Atkins part in this movie is Stacy Keach. He shows up with his weird hair lip and decides to. I love Stacy Keach, by the way. Talk about a guy that just owns the screen. He's on the screen with fucking Kurt Russell, and all you can watch is Stacy Keach.
Yeah. I mean, Lee Van Cleef did the same thing, I think, but
I think Keach is even more. Like Lee Van Cleef, you watch and you're like, holy shit, Lee Van Cleef. But Stacy Keach. Like, you forget he's even Stacy Keach. He comes into a movie and he's just like, rah! I am now the star!
Yeah, he's got a very, very commanding, scary presence. He's that way also in American History X. He's terrifying.
Oh, so good in that movie. I fucking love Stacy Keach. I watched a movie the other day. His brother was one of the stars of it. I looked up this actor. Stacy Keach's brother. Not as good, no. Okay. All right, anyway.
No cleft palate.
No. He had a beard, so maybe he does. I don't know.
Both brothers have cleft palates.
Anyway, We also have President Cliff Robertson in tow. He's replaced Donald Pleasance. Apparently, in the original script, it was going to be Pleasance, but he was like dying by this point. He was like a year from death.
So we get Cliff and his awesome toque.
He looks great. Uncle Ben. He's sort of playing him more like an evangelical kind of, like almost like a mega church situation.
Definitely. Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. I was really hoping at one point, though, they'd be in a car and maybe Kurt Russell would turn on the radio and it would be Sum 41, like in Spider-Man.
Well, there's plenty of music in this movie.
There is. Oh my God. And by the way, I had blocked that out of my brain. Maybe because I just like have so much tolerance for terrible music from the 90s.
Yes, I think that you do.
Yeah. But there's a lot of terrible music from the 90s in this movie.
I was like, Johnny, what are you doing to me, man? Like, you're not a guy who throws in contemporary fucking songs into your film. I don't know, man.
It happens right away. It opens with Tool. You like the second you start this movie, it's just Maynard James Keenan crooning at you.
I think it's just like, I just feel like the heart is there, but the miscalculations just, it's a misfire. All the actors are there. He's got everything set up. He just needs a massive rewrite.
You know what, man?
Let Kurt
give this movie one rewatch. You know, when we do high stakes letterbox game, give this the one more time thing. If you want to know more about that game, patreon.com/thefranchise. Because I really think if you go into this movie without the expectations of it being another Snake Plissken movie, it's a real good time. It's an hour and 40 minutes. There's no real fat on it. Every character is cast well except for one. And, you know, the action scenes are crazy. The CGI's funny. Like, Kurt Russell is great. Can I say that? Like, can we agree on that? He is Snake Plissken in this movie. Like, he's nailing it.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, it's not of course, though. We've covered so many actors on this show that pick up characters years later and can't quite do it.
No, that is true. I mean, he's given more dialogue in this movie. I mean, he could have spoken less, but that's okay. He's still got the presence. It's just, you know what it is? I knew the movie was goofy just from everything over the years. It's 25 years old. You know, I knew it was going to be goofy. I just didn't expect it to have a complete 180 tonal shift from the original.
I don't think it is a complete 180 tonal shift.
Oh, I do. I think it's completely...
It's just busier. It's busier and sillier, but I think it feels very much in the same universe as the first one.
Oh, I don't agree. Yeah, and I think Carpenter...
If I saw this in theaters at the time, I would have been primed for a third one.
Yeah. I think Carpenter can do silly when he does stuff like They Live, but there's always like an ominous undertone and something that makes you uneasy. And
They Live is secretly his smartest movie ever.
Yeah, and in this movie, it's just nonsense. And then when it goes to like a lot of action sequences, like the car chase and all that, and the gunfire and the helicopter taking off, it just doesn't feel like Carpenter to me.
I love that helicopter taking off. The fucking the blades shooting up from the top is cool.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So in this one, President Cliff Robertson has a daughter named Utopia. This is Utopia. Let's make a brand new start. And she is in L.A., which is the sexy prison, and she's trying. She's anti her dad. He's got this liberal daughter. Don't you wish that would happen in real life? Don't you wish like one of like the Bush twins like rose up against her dad?
Yeah. What do we got? With Trump's sister? She's come out a lot.
It's not even his sister. It's his fucking niece.
Oh, it's his niece. Yeah.
What a fucking hanger on, that loser.
Hey, at least he's calling him a piece of shit on live television.
Yeah, great. Calling Donald Trump a piece of shit. That's really controversial.
It isn't, but I'll take what I can get with that fuck, because he's going to run again.
He's going to win.
Don't fucking, don't.
Hey, I said it last time and it didn't happen, so maybe I should keep saying it.
You were saying it on election day.
I know.
Me and Aaron were in a a texting war, and I was like, ain't happening. He's out.
It was not even election day. It was the morning after. I'd already given up.
Given up way too soon. Yeah.
All right, anyway. So Utopia, the daughter, I love her. She's Rayanne Graff, of course, from My So-Called Life, one of the great characters in television history. And she is a delight in this movie. I really think it's like something out of fucking Tank Girl. It's great. And
I kept thinking of Tank Girl during this, which I haven't even seen. Did you read about her? I mean, you'd probably know about her then.
Oh, AJ Langer? Yeah, she's married to the Earl of Devon in real life
so she's
now.
Like a countess.
She's one of these actors who like quit acting a few years ago because she's now like a fucking governess or something.
Yeah. She's a countess. I clicked on her wiki page because I was like, I don't know who this person is. Let's see who this, because she is good in the movie. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And then her photo doesn't even come up. It's a fucking crest of arms. So she's milk. She loves this shit. They live in a castle. I mean, wow, good for her.
Honestly, great for her.
Yeah, absolutely. AJ Langer.
She apparently also has, I read on her Wikipedia page that she has fibromyalgia, which is a really horrible disease, and is like an outspoken supporter of. Yeah. So good for her. I had a friend with fibromyalgia, and it seemed like a real shit.
Oh, a shit what? The friend or the disease?
No, the disease. The friend was fine.
It's horrible. I've known people with it too. It's pretty common. It's weird. Yeah.
All right. So Steve Buscemi is sort of the, I guess, the Harry Dean Stanton of this movie, and he's Maps to the Stars Eddie. He's
MVP.
He's your MVP in this movie?
Obviously. I mean, he's doing his thing. He's always the best part of a no good movie, and he's great in this.
He's sort of playing like the John Lovitz Just the Ticket character. Because he's like, that's his whole part. He just keeps lying.
Playing a little Steve Buscemi character. He reminded me of Mink in Miller's Crossing, the guy he plays in that. You know, he's just playing both sides and that kind of thing. And
I just love it. His best moment in the entire movie, I think, is when he sees Kurt Russell surfing, and you just see him in his car, his like fucking double take.
Yeah, his bug eyes come out. Yeah, it's great.
Incredible. Apparently, I read that he took this role to help fund Trees Lounge.
That makes sense. I thought about Trees Lounge during the movie because it's the same year, and he has like the same haircut. And I was thinking, like, I wonder if he had just made Trees Lounge or was preparing to make it, or well, good for him.
Yeah, so he
associates himself to make money with a John Carpenter film. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna take like a major movie role, at least take it a cool one.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a fella named Cuervo Jones, played by George Coraface, I don't know, and he is sort of like the head guy once they end up in the gladiator arena, like in the first one.
He's like clearly a Che Guevara.
He's supposed to be a Che Guevara for sure, and
so a real thing. Carpenter picked the what does he call the movement? It's a real movement. The Shining
Path. Yeah,
that's an actual thing.
Yeah,
you know, he's also my LVP. Cuervo.
Mine too.
Oh,
yeah. When I said every part is well cast except for one, this is the one. I don't know what Carpenter's doing. This is a guy who, I think he's a French actor who's never really worked in America before this, and
good film.
I hope he never does again.
Not a good actor either, yeah.
Not good. Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. But I did love this sequence. So instead of battling a wrestler, he has to play basketball, Henry.
Look, I get what it's doing. I got what it was going for. It's just not for me.
Think about how popular the NBA was in the 90s. No,
Do you think Carpenter's paying attention to the fucking NBA?
I really do. I think the NBA was the biggest thing going in the 90s. The whole Michael Jordan and Shaq and all that. And
when I watched basketball,
everyone did. Like, everyone who never gave a shit about basketball was watching in the 90s. The Dream Team happened in 92. It changed everything, man.
And then, of course, Kobe in 97, 98.
All right, I don't want to talk about him.
I know you don't.
Well, mostly because of that one time he raped that woman. So, what? Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. But
For a second.
remember we covered Alien Resurrection, and there's that scene where like Sigourney Weaver's kicking ass at basketball.
You're right. That's a way better basketball scene.
I think this is better.
I hate that movie. I don't like Alien Resurrection at all, and that scene's way better than this fucking scene. I want some character consistency, and I can't. That's all I'm asking for, dude. And I can't. Snake Plissken is turning into like. I mean, what are we doing?
We
with
don't know what he does in his spare time. We've seen him twice over the course of 20 years, just like breaking into prisons. Maybe this guy's a basketball head.
Okay, sure. Sure.
What else are you gonna do in fucking Gilead?
He's robbing banks. He's planning heists. You know.
Yeah, but in between all those you've seen Ocean's 11. There's a lot of downtime.
Yeah. You think he's going to the court? Just hanging out?
I think he's hanging out at the courts. Yeah, trying to get a little one-on-one going, playing horse.
Call it Snake.
Yeah, we call this Snake. You've got a K. All right.
You're really good, man. Can we call it Pliskin? It's got more letters.
Nice. Do you think his name is Pliskin because it's sort of like Hiskin?
Ooh.
Like a snake.
Nice.
I thought about that. All right. Anyway, what were we talking about? Basketball. It's a great scene. All right. So he plays himself in basketball. He makes a half-court shot. It's incredible. And he proves himself the best basketball. I would honestly watch a Space Jam Escape from New York crossover where Michael Jordan and the Toons face off against Snake Plissken and whoever he wants. It's the team of his choosing.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. So what'd you think of Pam Grier and the indignity she had to suffer?
Yeah, I know. Henry... This is the worst part of the movie. I mean, it's not Pam Grier's fault. It's John Carpenter's fault. Like, let's call it...
Of course it's not Pam Grier's fault.
Let's call an asshole an asshole. So, he has Pam Grier. They tease this character over the course of the movie. That it's this black woman mob, like gang leader, who's named Hershey. Which I thought was, like, reasonably good. Like, the idea of Pam Grier playing, like, a mob figure named Hershey.
And I was waiting
That's a cute little blaxploitation riff.
And I was waiting for her to show up. Like, I was excited. Like, when am I getting my Pam Grier?
I know, it's weird. Pam Grier, a year before Jackie Brown.
It is weird, yeah.
But she shows up, and... her name is Hershey, spelled Hershe. She.
Didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Didn't catch that, dude. Okay.
The reason is because she's trans, and because it's 1996, we're going to treat trans like it's the grossest, weirdest, most disgusting, dumb thing we've ever heard of in our life. Rather than a valid life thing. So I guess Snake used to know her back in the day as a man named Carjack Malone, I want to say.
Something like that. Yeah.
But now it's Pam Grier. And even that, there's part of me that can forgive it if only he didn't lower the tone of her voice in fucking post.
Yeah, that was the... Yeah, because, the transphobia is typical. I wasn't even thrown by that. I was like, yeah, what, of course, whatever. But the fact that, like, they get Pam Grier a role, and then they, like, just sort of exploit her for that. I don't know. It just didn't... It was just...
Why wouldn't they just let Pam Grier play the part? Like, Pam Grier's a good actress. She can sort of change her general demeanor and tone to sound more masculine if that's really what John Carpenter wants from this character. But instead, we just had Pam Grier deliver her lines normally, and then we went in post-production and lowered every line of dialogue by like half a step to make her sound more mannish. And it ultimately ends up just sounding like something out of Dude, Where's My Car or something.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
It's really bad. It's the most embarrassing moment of the movie. And it's honestly the kind of thing, like, you know how like Steven Spielberg erased the guns from E.T.? If we're going to be doing shit like that, start here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's real bad. Anyway, I did notice going into the movie on Stars with a Z that it was like rated R, and they show you like what it's rated R for. Mm-hmm. And it said something like it referenced like old timey insensitivity or something.
Wow.
It didn't like say it like that, but what?
Cultural insensitivity or something?
But it was specific. Like I've seen cultural insensitivity before, but this reference specifically like not of the time kind of
interesting.
Thing. Yeah.
Well, I don't have Stars, so I actually paid $3 to watch it on Amazon.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. But so I didn't have any of that. But that's fucking fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I also just think it was everything you said, of course, and it was also just a stupid choice from like a movie standpoint.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's unnecessary.
It takes you right out of the movie because all you're thinking about is, oh, this is a performance delivered in post-production.
Yeah.
Like, I want the strings to be as invisible as possible, and when an entire performance is being altered in post, then all I'm seeing are the strings.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that it's horribly offensive.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're gonna put a role in the movie and then fuck with it like that, why get Pam Grier? Just get anyone. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Just put some no name in it. What are you gonna? You're gonna get fucking Pam Grier, and then that's what you're gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Henry. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Quentin rediscovered her the next year, and then I don't know, her career died again the next year.
But she went on to do some TV, right? Wasn't she in the L Word or some shit?
Oh yeah, she was in the L Word. Yeah, I guess she shows up here and there. I don't know. I just feel like right after fucking Jackie Brown, she was already back to doing like Bones with Snoop Dogg.
I felt bad, yeah. But yeah, so Snake has to get the this thing that's going to black out the whole world with satellites.
It's a MacGuffin. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and and the president says his daughter's expendable, and then he rides a wave, and then they escape in a helicopter, and then.
Well, I want to talk about a couple scenes. Yeah, the Peter Fonda shit. Peter Fonda is very, very bad in this movie, as he is in most movies. But it is fun to just watch him like trying to be a surfer dude, and this is easily my favorite wave thing, like my favorite like CGI thing in the movie. The wave, it's like a tidal wave coming in, and then Peter Fonda's like trying to teach Snake how to surf on top of this wave, and it looks so bad, but so great. And then they surf for kind of a while, and they surf past a shark at one point. Remember, a shark jumps out of the water?
That's in the beginning.
Oh, that's in the beginning. Okay.
When Russell's underwater, there's a shark that goes out his submergible.
I actually wondered whether that was supposed to be a real shark or the shark from the Jaws ride at Universal. Because there's so much of this movie that like the climax of the movie takes place at Disneyland.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a real shark because it like goes for it. It tries to bite the submersible.
Judging from the graphics, you can't really tell. There's also I really loved the one scene with Bruce Campbell as the Surgeon General.
It's very inventive. It just felt like it was, I mean, that was really inventive, creepy and weird and carpentry. Just a little bit out. Again, just I didn't. It was.
I wish there was more of this though, where like Carpenter, like setting this movie in L.A. versus New York is a big change, and I would like to see him do more with it, other than just the geography of L.A. Like I like that this sequence is like a satire on L.A.
Right.
Like it's a fucking L.A. story scene, but like through John Carpenter.
Right, and also not just the geography, but I was thinking more than just making fun of Beverly Hills. I mean, L.A. is ripe for satire, and that's kind of one of the only things he uses.
Yeah, but that's sort of where it's cut off in the movie. Like they explain at the beginning, like that's where the island is. Anyway, yeah, you didn't like that sequence either. God damn, I was so on board with
I
that.
didn't say that. I didn't say
There's
that.
something
I
so
thought it was
grotesque about all the like body modification in that
No,
scene.
no, I agree. It's not that I didn't like the scene. It just felt they just put Snake in all these situations that just didn't seem to work. I mean, I just like the scene. I like when he's dealing with Buscemi. I like when he's dealing with what's her name, Valeria Golino from Rain Man.
Why not?
What?
No, I don't know who that is. I just said why not. Sure. Yeah.
Of course you do, yeah. And I like that she says that she was a Muslim and she got. I was like, whoa, that was.
Oh, that's right.
They want early.
What was that? What did she say? The crime she was got.
She's a Muslim. She's not allowed to be in the country, so she's exiled to L.A.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She says it ain't so bad here. You can be what you want to be. You can wear fur if you want to wear fur, and then she gets killed.
It does seem like that though. Like this escape from L.A. prison. It just seems like a pride march.
With various gangs shooting at you, yeah.
I mean, that's what it is anyway in New York.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They get out of there. I want to give a shout out to Michelle Forbes also. She's a good
I like
actor.
her.
Yeah. She's one of the villains. And, yeah, whatever. They take down the president. It's the same ending as the first movie.
Snake, I like the use of the hologram at the end.
Oh, me too. Yeah, they set that up.
And I should have seen it coming. It's set up at the beginning, and I knew it would come into a play, and then I forgot about it. So, yeah, he shuts down the whole world, basically, which kind of needs to happen. And, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, you'll take us back to caveman times. And Snake's just like, whatever, let's go. Like, sure. And he does. So that's the end of the movie. What do you give this one?
2.
I give it a 3.
That's it?
Yeah. It's dumb, and the special effects are terrible, and it's unnecessary. It's a 3.
I thought I'd go 4.
No, I'm just defending it from your ire.
I didn't give it a 1. I mean,
No,
you know,
I knew you wouldn't give it a 1. I don't think it's possible to give a Carpenter movie a 1. Like, it's always gonna have something.
yeah, it's a 2-star movie to me. My MVP's Buscemi. My LVP's Cuervo.
My MVP, I'm gonna go with Bruce Campbell.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
My LVP, yeah, it's Cuervo. You know, I was hoping you'd go with Peter Fonda so I could go with Cuervo, but
I had picked Peter Fonda when I was watching the movie. I'd even written him down. And then the more I watched the movie, I was like, this villain sucks.
yeah, as bad as Peter Fonda is, he's definitely better than this guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is. Because he's basically just being Peter Fonda.
Well, bitchin', he's doing like a surfer thing, though.
I know. But then I was thinking about Isaac Hayes, how cool he was, and I was just like, you can't follow up with this fucking guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest miss. Like, everything else is, like, pretty decent. Like, you know, Adrian Barbeau to AJ Langer kind of works, and Donald Pleasance to Cliff Robertson kind of works. Yeah, that's the Tom Atkins to Stacy Keach is great.
Or Cleef to Keach, or whatever.
Oh,
Atkins
yeah, either way, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
it's probably Atkins to Michelle Forbes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, there you go, folks. That's
Yeah, they're
That's
ranked 1, 2, but maybe there'll be another one someday, Henry. I think there's one.
it.
What?
I read that Kurt Russell is unhappy that Gerard Butler is.
That'll never happen. Wait, hold on. Where did you read this?
I think it's on the Escape from LA wiki page, at the very bottom, because he's not American.
All right.
was Russell's objection.
Well, that's a stupid objection.
Yeah.
I don't know that there needs to be an Escape from New York remake, but I will say Gerard Butler, not a bad choice.
He's got the look, but I'd like a better actor.
I gotta say, I turned the corner. I'm Team
Whoa.
Gerard Butler now.
Oh, what happened?
You gotta see this Greenland.
Oh, I was toying with that, and then I just decided to stop toying with it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I gave it a fucking 4.
Greenland. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's sort of like a smarter 2012.
Okay.
What was I? This remake. All right. So is this really happening?
I don't remember. I mean, it definitely got as far as Russell commenting on it and a casting. So, I mean, of course, you never.
It's not on IMDb, which leads me to believe that it's probably not a thing. But there is a section in Wikipedia that says in March 2017, Robert Rodriguez signed on to direct a version with Carpenter producing. Nothing ended up happening with that. And then in 2019, it looks like Lee Wanell rewrote Rodriguez's version. So it's still in development. We'll see if anything happens with it. I kind of think Gerard Butler's cool. Let's do it. You know what, though? Why remake Escape from New York? Because I really feel like you could do a third one. Hear me out. 1996 was the wrong time for an Escape from New York sequel. It was too long for anyone to care about it as a sequel, and it wasn't long enough for anyone to have nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
So, like, it came out, and it landed with a thud. But now, Henry, it's 2021.
Yeah, we're way
Kurt
into
Russell,
this. Yeah.
He's making these Fast and Furious movies. He's in these Marvel movies.
He's in Tarantino movies.
Yeah, he still looks fucking tasty. All right?
Yeah.
Silver Fox. And
He's 70 now, but he could still do it.
you think you can't make a 70-year-old Snake Plissken movie?
course
It
you
almost
could,
makes
yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, I'd be in.
Yeah,
I'd be in.
I think now's the time for that. Just do. It doesn't have to be Carpenter. Get someone with like the general aesthetic of Carpenter, a Carpenter devotee who can do it.
Baby, wow. I mean, obviously Rodriguez is an intriguing choice. Lee Wanell's an intriguing choice too.
Lee Wanell, I think, is on the right track.
Sure,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, Carpenter's so sui generis. I don't know, man. That's a tough call.
You know,
I mean,
David Gordon Green, I thought, did a
I thought
really
about
great
that.
job with Halloween. I don't know that he's the guy for Escape from New York, but maybe you get him together with Carpenter and they come up with somebody.
That's a
Because
good idea. Yeah.
I think it could really work.
Yeah. I was gonna say Gordon Green, but I didn't want to be obvious because I know he's doing the 2 Halloween movies. But yeah,
Three.
that's yeah. No, he would
3
be.
Halloween movies.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, the new one's coming out, I guess. Yeah.
Real
Right.
soon, yeah, we'll do it. We'll talk about it.
Halloween Kills.
I'm fucking
Yeah.
pumped. Yeah, I'm so pumped for that movie. All right. Anyway,
We liked the first one.
we sure did. Or
Yeah.
AKA the 9th one? The 11th one?
Who knows, man?
Yeah. All right. Anyway, what a great time with Escape from New York. Fucking 1-2 is the ranking. And we'll close the book on Snake Plissken for now.